Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome to the video. So we had another slower week in the stock market as the S&P 500 continued to build out its consolidation range. The same levels that we went over last week still apply, and once this range breaks, we can see a directional move from the market. This week's video will be a little different than usual, as I'll be going over the top 10 election trade ideas that I am watching heading into the election. And this is along with the newsletter I just posted, which is 100% free to subscribe to, and that is linked in the description below. So getting into it, one of the most volatile, catalyst-driven times in the stock market is the US presidential election. With volatility comes trading opportunity, and with the election coming up on November 5th, it is time to prepare. In this newsletter and video, we'll be going over what to expect from the stock market during and leading into the election environment, and the main trade ideas to focus on that will benefit from either a Trump or a Kamala victory. The overarching opinion is that Trump win would be the most beneficial for stocks, and while I don't necessarily disagree with this, there is almost always an overreaction to the effect that the election will have on the market. Take 2020 for example. Leading into the election, there was fear that Biden getting elected would have a large negative effect on stocks. As the election approached, the market sold off from October 12th to November 2nd, resulting in a 9% drop in the S&P 500. And this resulted in a classic sell the rumor / buy the news event, as once Biden was elected on November 3rd, the market bounced back in a big way. The simple fact is, whoever wins the election wants the stock market to go up. There are different economic pros and cons with both candidates, but the overall effect on the major indexes will not be too different no matter who wins. The main takeaway with what happened for the market during the 2020 election and many other past elections is to fade the overreaction. In a scenario where polls start favoring Kamala heavily and stocks drop into the election, expect a bounce back post-election. And in a scenario where the polls start favoring Trump heavily and stocks see a rise into the election, expect a pullback post-election. Right now, both candidates are about dead even in polls. If it stays this way, anything can happen, but based on historical seasonality, stocks drop in October of election years. In the October of the past 6 election years, the S&P has fallen each time. In 2020, it dropped 11%, 2016, it dropped 5%, 2012, it dropped 3.5%, 2008, it dropped 26%, 2004, it dropped 4.5%, and in 2000, it dropped 7%. Obviously, each cycle has been very different and there are outliers, but this trend is something to certainly take note of. So now getting to the election trade ideas, the best trade opportunities will come from the stocks and sectors that will have a binary reaction and are clear winners or losers from the election. As readers know, my trading strategy relies heavily on technical analysis, which we will combine with these catalyst-driven trades to make sure that reward versus risk is always in our favor. So starting out by getting into the Kamala trades, there are 2 main sectors that I'm focusing on as trades for a Kamala victory. The first being solar / renewable energy. So Democrats are very supportive of renewable energy, and this sector has historically had large reactions from political catalysts. For example, when Biden won in 2020, the solar energy ETF TAN went on a 90% plus run from post-election November 2020 to the beginning of January 2021. After the large post-election run that this sector went on, it has only declined since. Could the sector have another large upside move if Kamala wins? It is certainly possible. First, solar ticker symbol FSLR has been the solar stock that has shown the highest relative strength over the past 1+ year. As I've written about before, relative strength is one of the most important factors to focus on with trades, as if a stock is going up more than its competitors, that is institutions or the smart money placing their bets that the company will continue to outperform and beat earnings expectations. The stock had a large breakout move from late May to early June, running it from $200 per share to $300 plus in less than a month. After finding resistance at $300 to $317, which was previous highs, the stock pulled back to around $200 per share, where it found support and has essentially been building out a base since then. In the bigger picture, this can be looked at as a 14-year-long cup and handle pattern with the breakout zone above at $300 to $317, which can be tradable using the range breakout, and $220 is also a key level that you can use to define your risk and have a stop loss below. Enphase Energy, ticker symbol ENPH, is up next, and this was the previous leading solar stock and saw the largest post-election move in 2020 with a 140% run in the 2 months following the election. For the past 2 years though, the stock has shown major weakness and is down about 70% from late 2022 highs. The weakness is not ideal, but the stock has been building out a large consolidation base since August of 2023 between 93 support and 138 resistance, with a well-defined wedge pattern within it as well. The wedge can be tradable using the trendline breakout, and the 93 to 138 range can also be tradable using the range breakout. I would argue that First Solar is a better odds-on bet for a clean reaction to Kamala victory, but Enphase has more true explosion potential due to how tight and well-defined the range has gotten, along with the stock's track record of making large and fast moves. Other trade ideas in the sector include Next Era Energy, ticker symbol NEE, and the solar ETF TAN, as these are less volatile names to trade. That would also be great bets for a positive reaction to a Kamala victory. The other sector that traders should watch closely into the election is the home building stocks. So Kamala released her economic plan, which includes building 3 million new units of affordable housing, tax incentives for building starter homes, and $25,000 down payment support for first-time home buyers. This would obviously be a massive positive catalyst for the home builder stocks, which include R Horton, ticker symbol DHI, Pulte Homes, ticker symbol PHM, Toll Brothers, ticker symbol TOL, and the sector ETF, which is traded with symbol XHB. Now the charts for these stocks are pretty self-explanatory and do not need much analysis. They are very bullish charts, making higher lows and higher highs, with all of them at or near all-time highs. Because of this though, a large portion of their upside has likely already been priced in. In my opinion, this sector may make for the best trade as a short on a Trump victory. So scenarios I'd watch for is Kamala wins, home builders initially get a sell the news event, and see a 5 to 10% drop. That drop could then be buyable after the news gets sold, because the sector is a legit large beneficiary from a Kamala victory. Second scenario would be if Trump wins, the home builders then need to reprice due to the large upside scenario, which was Kamala's economic plan no longer being in play. Anything from a 10 to 20% drop could potentially be reasonable and offer a trade opportunity to trade it on the short side. Okay, so now getting into the Trump victory trades. The first Trump trade that I'm focusing on is the most simple and arguably the dumbest, but hey, sometimes it is best to keep it simple and follow where the dumb money will go, and that is with Trump Media and Technology Corp, ticker symbol DJT. So this is the company behind Truth Social and will no doubt be a large mover one way or the other leading into and after the election. The financials of the company are terrible, but the stock obviously does not trade off any fundamentals. It is simply a bet on Donald Trump and his popularity, which can obviously explode more if he was to win. The key resistance levels and upside triggers to watch would be at 17.3 and then 24.8 next above there. And a simple way to trade it could be to enter on a break and hold above 17.3 and then play with a tight stop loss back below there. If it sees strong follow through higher, you can essentially write it as a free trade with potential for a much larger upside move from there. If the stock has a large pre-election run, this would definitely be one that would be smart to lock in profits on, as there is high odds for a sell the news reaction after the election even if Trump wins. Next up is Geo Group, ticker symbol GEO, and this is a very clear beneficiary from a Trump victory, and is arguably the cleanest election trade of all. Geo is a private prison company, and was the first company to max out their PAC, which is the donation contribution limit, to Trump's campaign. This article excerpt from citizensforethics.org lays out how the company benefits from a Trump victory. It essentially says that in Trump's last year in office, they received 87 contracts, which is way more than it would be with a Democrat in office, and if re-elected, Trump has also promised to carry out extreme immigration agenda that includes detaining undocumented people already in the US and vast holding facilities yet to be built. Obviously a lot of that business going to Geo. Taking a look at the chart, Geo stock went on a 70% plus run from the beginning of January to July 17th when it peaked at a little above $18 per share. And the day it topped is no coincidence, as that is the same day that Trump's election odds peaked and Kamala started gaining steam. This reaction tells you everything that you need to know for how well correlated the stock will be with the result of the election. If Trump gains steam in the polls, the stock is a long and a strong run-up trade into the election, and if Kamala gains steam in the polls, the stock is a short leading into the election. Key levels to watch on the chart include 12.45 key support and resistances above at 14.85, 16.3, and 18.05 to 18.43, which would be the larger range breakout trigger above there. And the stock is also testing the key moving average cluster with the 50 and 200 day moving average at 13.22 to 13.24, which can also act as a key pivot point for the stock. And Bitcoin in the crypto market is also a sneaky Trump trade due to his running mate JD Vance, who has a pro-crypto stance. Bitcoin's reaction to the polls show that it's correlated to the election, as it popped 11% the week that Trump survived that assassination attempt and surged in polls. A recent Financial Times article titled "A Major Advance for Crypto" outlines how JD Vance is very pro-crypto and can potentially change how regulators see crypto in the future. And taking a look at the Bitcoin chart, it looks like it may just be a matter of time before it sees an explosion higher. It has been building at a consolidation base since early March of this year, which would also be the handle of the broader 4-year-long cup and handle pattern. When and if it breaks new highs, Bitcoin and the crypto market as a whole has potential for an absolutely massive move above. And overall, it is important to remember that the election is a very volatile time for the stock market. always make risk management the #1 priority. It is also key to remember that the perception of the election impact is often greater than the actual impact, which results in many sell the news reactions after the election. Campaign promises always sound good, but do not always play out. The true post-election winners will commonly run up to the election, get a sell the news reaction after the election, and then see a strong trend higher after that initial dip. The best trade opportunities will be the pre-election run-ups and then the post-election dip buys on the biggest true winners. So those are the top election trades that I am watching. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. And subscribing to the newsletter is 100% free and linked in the description. For anybody interested in joining the private Discord group, that is the first link down in the description to get my personal trade alerts, nightly watch lists, and I answer any questions you guys have in there. Thank you guys for watching. Good luck trading the week ahead, and I will catch you next time. Peace out.